You're now live. Hi. I'm so excited. I've been excited for weeks thinking about this Instagram live. Let me get Austin Public Library. We have Roosevelt. Hey, let me invite. Wave back. Invite. Libro. Nicole is joining us from Libro. All right, let's see if we can make this work. Apologies, I'm outside. I have terrible internet service. So these are just the breaks. Hey, Kimberly. All right, guys, gals, let's see if we can make this work. Where are you, Roosevelt? And Nicole. I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I am so giddy. I'm really, really excited. Nicole, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm trying to make this work. Here we go. Let's see if this will be better. Hi, Suzanne. Okay, let's see. It says Austin Public Library is unable to join. Well, let's just improv for a second. Yes, I see Austin Public Library, and I'm trying to get you on here. I am accepting. Let's make this happen. I'm not going to blame anything on Mercury in retrograde today.
Yay!
Hi!
Hi, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
How you're in Michigan, yeah?
Yes, we are. And it actually feels like fall today, which is
Oh,
really exciting.
I'm so jealous. I mean, not that it's nice to have nice warm weather here, but I'm really ready for some fall. I wore like a kind of mock sweater turtlenecky thing. So, can you hear me and see me okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear and see
Okay,
you.
good.
I have the worst internet, so bear with me. And I'm trying to get Roosevelt on here, so let's just see if we can get Roosevelt and invite. They are invited. Fingers crossed. I mean, there's always like a bit of commotion whenever these Instagram lives
Yes.
happen anyway. So, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Pretty great start to
So,
35 so far. I'm not mad.
well, awesome. And it's nice to start it during Band Book Week, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, it usually ends up, my birthday ends up being both Banned Books Week and By Visibility Week. So I'm like, it's all my favorite things all at once.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Great way to celebrate all the good things. Okay, so I'm not sure where Roosevelt is, but we can either continue on, or we can reset this. So I'm so sorry. Let me, it says that Austin Public Library is unable to join. Let me just see if I can get them, and if not, we'll just figure it out and talk about banned books, my favorite thing.
Yeah, great. Technology's great.
Um,
It's fantastic.
well, I mean, how are you on this beautiful Thursday morning and afternoon?
You know, not bad. Not bad at all. It's pretty great.
Well, so I know that you do you own you're the owner of Betty's Pages? Is that an
I
independent
am.
bookstore in Lowell, Michigan? Did I hear that correctly?
Yep,
Okay.
you did. Yep.
Do you want to say a little bit about your bookstore and how people can support you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Betty's Pages is an all ages, all genres independent bookstore, but we really specialize in being mission driven and making sure that everybody gets a chance to see themselves represented on the shelves and get a wider look at the world. Lowell's a pretty small town in West Michigan, so there's not a lot of diversity here. And having grown up in a similar small town, I know exactly how important it is and how great books can be to opening up the wider world. So when I opened my own bookstore, I was like, yeah, of course, these are the books I'm going to have. And so, of course, all of our favorite books that we sell here at the store are usually banned or challenged in a lot of places. So that's always fun. But if you're in West Michigan, you can feel free to come in person. But we have a website, bettyspages.com, and then across all of the social medias are great ways to support us.
Awesome. And then also you are a partner with Libro.fm, which makes it possible to buy audiobooks directly through local independent bookstores. And tell us a little bit, I don't know if you want to elaborate on Libro and how
Yeah.
buying and purchasing through
I
them.
I am obsessed. I listen to audiobooks like constantly. So having Libro FM and being able to work with them as an indie bookstore is just such a great opportunity for us because people don't really do like books on tape or CD anymore. And so they want to have it on their phone on the go. And Libro has just been really fantastic to work with. They support indie bookstores. So it's a great alternative to using them instead of Amazon. And it just is a really fantastic way to get the great books that you like and support indie bookstores all at once and feel good about what you're doing. They have just an amazing selection of books, and the app is super easy to use, and I am
Mm-hmm.
constantly using it.
Love it. Same. I know. I'm constantly
Mm-hmm.
listening. And I always feel so dated because I still call it books on tape, but that's okay.
Same.
Well, I'm going to just try Roosevelt one more time and then we
Yeah.
can hopefully get him to join. Okay, one more time. Austin Public Library. And it says they're invited. All right, well, we'll just continue on and hopefully Roosevelt can join.
Yeah.
And just really quickly, poor Roosevelt, if Roosevelt is watching, I'm going to do a quick intro. So just a little bit about Roosevelt. So Roosevelt is the director of the Austin Public Library, and Roosevelt oversees the 23 branch system. Before coming to Austin in 2017, Weeks spent 10 years as the deputy director of library administration for the city of Houston. And last year, he told KUT that the freedom to read is a right, and it's important for librarians and library workers to stand together to ensure people are not stopped or deterred from reading what they want. So hopefully Roosevelt will be here shortly, but Nicole and I are going to take this very important
Yes.
topic by storm. So I'm so
Absolutely.
appreciative of you being here, and I'm so appreciative of the bookstore and supplying and stocking books that are representative and important to give people access to such wonderful stories, and letting people be seen and and providing wonderful beautiful stories. The last week, the American Public Library Association warned that book banning efforts are on track to well outpace last year's bans, which was awful. And so it's horrible that we're still continuing on banning books. And PEN America, a
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit organization that works to defend and celebrate free expression, just released a new report that shows a major uptick in book bans in schools. More than 2,500 book bans were issued in 32 states this year. I know how that makes me feel. It makes me feel incredibly sad and defeated, and also incredibly excited to be a rebel and present all these books wherever I can. I wanted to know how that makes you feel as a book owner, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I will never understand how people can ban books. The safest, most wonderful place to be able to experience the world is in a book. Like, what better place to learn about hard topics and to question things and to push yourself than from the safety of a book? And to take that away from people, especially those who need it most, is just so infuriating to me. I'm a bookstore owner. All the time, people are like, "Oh, like this must be great for you because when they ban it, people just want to buy it." And I'm like, I mean, yes, this is how I make a living, so that is great. But I also know what it's like to not have access to a bookstore, to not have access to be able to go to another library. And so when we ban books from libraries and especially from schools, we're hurting the people who need those books the most and don't have alternative means to go and get them in their hands. And that's just,
Yeah.
it just makes me so ragey. I can't stand it.
Same. I really think it's important to provide stories and access to people. And I know as a mom, it makes me really enraged. It's the inner rebel in me that says, like, don't tell me what to do, but also don't tell me what to do, especially with my children, because these stories are important. They provide curiosity. They encourage questions. I'm just being told Roosevelt is possibly on. I'm so sorry for interrupting things.
No, you're fine.
Here we go. So I know I get enraged and I get excited hearing that you're providing these books and these stories. And it makes me really sad. It makes me sad that someone doesn't want to provide access, and also sad for people who aren't able to go to a library and, you know, check out these books, because not everybody has the ability to hop on a Libro or hop and buy a book at a bookstore, you know. So it does make me sad that there are people out there preventing access to these stories and you know, representation in general. So here in Texas, things are I'm pretty ragey lately. I'm pretty angry. I think this year alone I read that there are like something like 800 books or something that are now being questioned just this year, which just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't understand it. What are things like in Michigan?
It's rough here. We're at kind of the epicenter of where the groups who are kind of pushing this narrative are from. Betsy DeVos lives one town west of me.
Wow.
There are organizations and colleges like Hillsdale College where they're literally the proving grounds that these think tanks use to create the scripts and to make the list of books that they want to ban and to get all of that information out to other places. And that sucks. Like, just knowing that this is coming from my town and coming from my area is so infuriating. And we're just dealing with it. And a lot of people think that, oh, it's just happening in Texas or in Alabama or Florida or the South. But I promise you, no matter where you live, book banning is happening within a pretty small radius of you. And to make the list of books and to get all of that out to other places. And that sucks. Like,
uh-oh, I'm hearing a repeat or an echo. Can you hear us, Roosevelt?
I hear you guys.
Okay.
Yay.
And I apologize. There was some technical difficulties on our end, and we finally figured it out.
Oh, you're fine. I feel like I'm full of technical difficulties. That's my middle name. So you're in good hands, in good company. Thank you so much for joining us. We were just sort of talking about Nicole and what Nicole's doing. Nicole runs a bookstore called Betty's Pages and also a platform and works alongside Libro. And I don't know if you heard, but we just did an intro about you and your stewardship and, you know, your work with the Austin Public Library. And we're so grateful, you know, to be having this discussion and talking about why we need to have more books on the shelves.
That's right.
And keep them there and put them in people's hands, and having diversity and representation and stories out there for everyone to enjoy and check out. And we were just talking a bit about the climate in Michigan and the climate in Texas, and I was sort of saying that we're full of rage over here, but it's not just in Texas.
It's not
sort of ubiquitous
everywhere.
Yeah,
but I think we're the epicenter of book banning in the country, and you know, it's unfortunate that this thing is being used as a political thing rather than I care about my child. It's right. Not about that, and that's the unfortunate thing, is that we've taken it to the level of a cultural war, so to speak, and it's all about getting votes and getting people riled up over something that has never been an issue to this level. You know, we've always had banned books, but it has never gotten to the political level. You know, I was thinking of just checking out some of the literary classics out there that were banned. You know, Catcher in the Rye and all of those type books were banned, but it never got to a political standpoint. And I think that's what's the difference now, is that people really, I think people love books. I really believe that those that are putting these bans in place, I think they love books. I think there are a few out there that's trying to take advantage of this political climate and to score political points. I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Texas especially has a penchant for political drama when it's so unnecessary, and I don't think literature should, like religion, which is other topic I won't get into, deserves to be in politics. I mean, it makes me so sad, especially, you know, I'm a mom with young children. I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and funny enough, recently I had banned books in the back of my car, and one of my children happened to see a graphic novel that wasn't quite age appropriate for them.
Right.
And we had to have, you know, one of those talks explaining things that maybe weren't quite age appropriate, but it was a great conversation where I had to put my money where mouth is and
Yep.
have a discussion. And I felt really empowered, and I felt like, I hope, because they're going to see, the world is a difficult place right now. It's an uncomfortable place.
That's
So
right.
you can't just say it lives in literature. The world we live in right now is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but Jen, you hit it on the head, though. You hit it on the head. That conversation that you had with your daughter, that's the conversation that should take place, not somebody else telling our children what they should read. That's the right there. That was a perfect example.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like whatever you want in your household is your business. Don't tell me what I can give my children or what they're hungry to read or curious about. That's really important to feed that curiosity. And I mean, I know from my own experiences growing up, I mean, the best place for me was the library, because I learned so much. And reading even transgressive literature, because you can do it in the privacy within the bookshelves and no one looming and looking over your shoulder. You can discover new worlds and people and ideas and people that are like you or different from you. And it's a really wonderful way to bring people together, I think. What I also want to know, I know how it's impacted me as a mother. It certainly makes me mad and makes me want to fill every library and bookshelves full of inappropriate books. Not inappropriate, but all the ones that are banned. How has it affected y'all's work? How has it affected you, Nicole, in the bookstore, and Roosevelt? How has it affected you as a librarian?
Yeah. Go ahead, Nicole. I'll let you start.
Yeah, so I've been really, really lucky in that the kind of bookstore that I am and the platform that I use and how I use my voice, people know that they can come here and find these books. Very often I go to school board meetings and the book banning crowd will do a dramatic reading, and I will be on my phone being like, okay, well, we need to stock that book up now because everybody's going to come buy it, which is fantastic. And I really, really love that. But I also hear a lot from our kids. I'm involved in our local LGBTQIA+ organization, and they are sitting there hearing respected people in their community, parents and coaches and all of these people saying that they're horrible. Because when they hear you talking about how a book is inappropriate or disgusting or inappropriate for kids to be around, they're not hearing you talk about the book. They're hearing you talk about them. And that is something that no matter how well adjusted you are, I'm 35. I've been out for a very long time. I know who I am. Even I feel like that death by a million paper cuts every time I hear people talking about how me and my friends and my community are disgusting. That's horrible. And these kids are having to deal with this from people that are supposed to care about them. And it's just really toxic and hard to do, but it's also really empowering for them and getting them involved in the process and showing up to school board meetings and showing up to city council meetings and finding out, hey, what can I do to get access to these books? And I'm super happy to be the rebel place for teens to go. A bookstore is the rebel place. So I'm okay with that.
And it has energized me to no end. I've been in libraries for quite some time, and there's nothing that has energized me more to fight this thing than this year, because it has become so prevalent now in some of the places that you wouldn't even think of, and it's disheartening. And so my resolve is that we're going to continue to fight this thing at every level that we possibly can. I love when people challenge a book in our library, because it gives me an opportunity to say, let's see what you're thinking about, and let's have a dialogue on why you want to ban this book. Yeah. And so it gives me an opportunity to dialogue with those individuals so that they can see that, look, if you're talking about something specific to you, don't tell me no talking points that you heard on some conservative station or some group that I don't want to hear that. Just tell me why. Because oftentimes folks have not read these books. They're just going by what individuals have said, some politician have said. And that's not where we need to be. And so, I am energized. I'm here in Austin, where we have a very supportive elected officials, that believe in reading, believe that reading is a fundamental right. And so I don't have that pressure like some others in our state have. And so I feel compelled to speak for them whenever I get a chance to talk about, what's going on and why it's not appropriate or helpful to our society. It is important that the fervor that they have on their side to ban books, we have to have that same fervor on our side. All too long, I think we waited a little too late to get into this thing and to start be forceful about it, we got to stay on top of these things and not just say, oh, it's going to resolve itself. No, these things are not going to resolve itself. This is some of our politicians have made this a cultural war, and they want to stick to that because they see it as a winning effort for them, and that we have to, sit down and have closed mind, talk to people that really understand this issue, that want to have a dialogue about it, and that's what we need to be able to do, to open those dialogues and just talk to one another instead of going to board meetings and just yelling and saying things that are not truthful. We got to be right there with them when they start talking about these things, because I believe it's more of us who love books and believe that books should be for everybody than those who are not. And I think it is a vocal minority that's pushing this thing.
It's just a loud one, the ones that are weaponizing these stories. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I love what you're saying about having a discussion, because I think we've lost the art of discourse. And I think being able to actually understand why someone has a problem when they actually haven't read the book and something is taken completely out of context, and to ban something based off of just, weaponizing a phrase or a term that was used in historical context, for instance, that is a learning component. I think having these discussions and taking the time to educate people and understanding where someone else is coming from. I love that what you were saying about having a discussion.
If you look at Catcher in the Rye, which is widely read in high schools today, this book is no different than some of the books that we have right now that they're banning. It's no different. It's talking about teenagers, it's talking about sex, it's talking about the whole gambit. But we don't see people banning those books. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of books like in high school that, like the V.C. Andrews of the, that also teach certain things, and I'm not dogging. I loved those books, and I can't wait to revisit them. But it's wild to me, and what you're saying, it becomes a cultural sort of war and political and used in the wrong way.
But you know the difference between Catcher in the Rye and books like Stamped and Anti-Racist Baby by Dr. Kendi is that the books that they're banning is primarily about Black authors, LGBTQ.
Yes.
That's the cultural piece that get people riled up.
Yes.
When you point to these groups as being bad and not good, that's where they want to focus. And that's unfortunate.
Yes. And
41% of banned books, I believe, are LGBTQIA plus characters, and 40% are Black, Indigenous, or other people of color. So it's you can't pretend like these are anything other than just your homophobia or your racism showing up, and to use children as an excuse to allow those things to happen is so infuriating.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I mean, that becomes a broader topic of, we should really talk to our children, about race, about sexual identity, about gender. We should have an honest conversation. And these books are wonderful learning tools. They are also, a lot of them, based on facts, like Howard Zinn's book. Stamped is a very difficult and challenging read. It is a very important read. The LGBTQIA plus stories are incredibly important for everybody, because the more that we are able to learn about other genders, other races, sexualities, the more we learn about ourselves, the more we learn about our community, the more we can embrace our community. And yes, I 100% agree with you. That being said, what are some ways that we can speak up? What are some ways that our audience can speak up? How can we be more supportive, not only within our own community, but also, nationally?
Yeah. And Jen, in addition to, going to school board meetings, going to wherever there's a conversation about banned books, we need to be there. We need to be there in force. Here in Texas, the Texas Library Association created this grassroots effort called Texans for the Right to Read. If you can have your followers to log on to that, support that effort, that would be helpful. And ALA, the American Library Association, Freedom to Read Foundation, all of these things, if people want to get involved, start being a part of that, start supporting those organizations in their mission to carry out the right for everybody to read whatever they want to read.
Absolutely. Do you know
This
if
is
they're
definitely an
oh, sorry. Go for it. Nicole, you go for it.
this is definitely an opportunity where you can see that all politics are local. Most of the decisions that impact our daily lives happen at the city, county, or state level. And people don't pay attention to those until it's too late. So showing up is really the most important thing. Making sure you're paying attention to school board members who are running for election this year. Making sure that you're showing up to library board meetings and school board meetings and city council meetings.
Yeah.
It's going to be boring most of the time, and we like that. We like when they're boring, but you're going to be really glad you're there when they need it, because this vocal minority is the only ones who are showing up, and they are speaking loudly and a lot. And it just doesn't match reality, because the majority of us, like 71% of Americans, don't think that books should be banned. So this very vocal, very loud minority is pretending to speak for all of us, and we need to just show up. That's the most important thing.
I know that Libro.fm is one way readers can support local bookstores, since it allows you to buy audiobooks through the indie bookstore of your choice, which is awesome. How else can readers support bookstores?
Yeah, so there's a fantastic company called bookshop.org. It is an amazing alternative for people who don't have a local indie bookstore in their community. So they can shop online. It's just like shopping on Amazon, except for instead of, funding that, you get to fund indie bookstores. So they're a for good company. And so you can partner and support a specific indie bookstore. And then every purchase on that goes to a pool that goes to all of the indie bookstores in the country. So if you don't have a local indie, that's a great way to do it. And a lot of us, we're online too. We've got websites, we can ship anywhere, and we're happy to do it. So between Libro, Bookshop, and just individual bookstores' websites, there are so many ways to help us.
Awesome. And then Roosevelt, what are some ways that we can also support libraries in Austin Public Library?
The thing is, just start visiting us. Check on, matter of fact, you don't even have to come in sometime. You can order our books online. And we're seeing every time a politician mention a book that they want to ban, we have that book checked out. I mean, waiting list out the wazoo. So, support your local libraries. When things come up, when people want to shut down libraries, and I think they tried to shut down one in Michigan, be there to be vocal and say, hey, we are not going to allow that to happen. That's not an enlightened society when you start shutting down libraries and banning books. We want people that can think critically. Books and libraries help us to do that. And I like to always say that libraries are one of the last bastions of democracy that's out there, and they're being attacked left and right. And we need those folks to speak up for their local libraries.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to link Austin Public Library. What was the organization that you mentioned again about reading here in Texas?
It's the Texas for the Right to Read.
Texas for the Right to Read. I'm going to link that. Nicole,
Perfect.
How can everyone find you at Betty's Pages?
Yes, bettyspages.com and across all of social media. And it's Betty with IE, BETTIES. So, yeah.
And Libro.fm as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to say thank you so much. Is there anything else y'all would like to add or let everyone know?
Keep fighting. You just got to keep fighting. Don't give up. Just keep fighting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Don't try and do this in a silo. If you have people in your community who are trying to ban books, call in resources, the American Library Association, your state library association, the National Center Against Censorship, or Coalition Against Censorship, your local indie bookstore. We are all ready and waiting to jump in and help. So don't try and go it alone. There's a lot of people out there who want to help.
Thank you so much for this impactful discussion. I cannot tell you how jazzed I am. I'm so excited. Roosevelt, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come and visit you at the Austin Public Library. Nicole, I cannot wait to visit you in Michigan. Y'all are amazing. I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much for fighting this fight and speaking up and providing access to wonderful, wonderful reads and stories. I'm so grateful, and everyone's so grateful. So thank you so much.
Jen, thank you for giving us this platform to get the word out. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This is an amazing use of it, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
Same. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we'll continue this. I know it. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.